Hello everyone, welcome to AdaDerana BIZ 24. As you know, through this program, we have been talking to professionals of different industries. And today we're going to focus on a special industry that needs more attention, that is the healthcare industry. As we know, since recently and throughout the years, the demand for the global healthcare professionals have been rising globally. And to talk about this, we thought why not talk to some international staff members of the International Institute of Health Sciences. And first, let me now introduce you to the professionals. Let me first introduce Miss Glenda Whiting. Hello, Glenda.
Hello, Ashi.
And to introduce her a little bit, she is a registered nurse, registered midwife and healthcare educator and head of School of Nursing at International Institute of Health Sciences. And currently, she is working as a midwife in a private hospital in Australia. Thank you so much for being with us, Glenda.
Thank you.
And next, let me take the pleasure in introducing Ms. Barbara Turner. She is a health service nurse manager and a nurse practitioner at Menindee Health Service, Australia. Hello to you.
Good morning,
Barbara.
Ashi.
Good morning. How have you both been?
Very well, thank you.
Very well, thank you.
Thank you so much for joining with AdaDerana BIZ today to have this discussion. I think it's a timely topic that we need to discuss, and especially with the global pandemic situation, the demand for the global demand for healthcare professionals have been only rising, and it has never come down ever since. So to start off the conversation, first of all, I would like to ask y'all are in Sri Lanka, and Sri Lanka has been a topic for many reasons these days. So for you, how is Sri Lanka? I would like to start with Glenda.
It's been fantastic. Before we left Australia, we certainly had family members and friends asking us, are you sure it's okay to go and visit? Because the media was portraying that things were very difficult. But having been here 5 times, I did say that I felt very safe being here, and I always get looked after well by the staff here at IIHS. And since we've been here, it's fabulous. There's been no disruptions. The fuel is probably the only thing that's a bit of an issue, but otherwise we feel perfectly safe, and we've very much enjoyed it.
Thank you so much for those words. Barbara, how has Sri Lanka been to you?
I would agree. This is my first trip to Sri Lanka, and it's been absolutely wonderful. We've been so well looked after, and we've had an opportunity to do a little bit of travelling up through Kandy. And yes, once again, obviously fuel is a bit of a problem, but it's been wonderful. We've been so well looked after. Just really enjoying the time here.
I think wonderful. Being a Sri Lankan, nothing like hearing such words these days. Thank you so much for that. And to dig into the conversation of healthcare industry, Glenda, I would like to ask you, tell me a little bit about yourself and what really inspired you to pursue a career in health industry.
So I've been a nurse for more than 40 years, and I think initially choosing to become a nurse was really because it was a very practical occupation, and certainly was dealing with people and patients. So you often see people at their most vulnerable time, but you are there to help them, and you also work with a team of people. So I think, I would say now I have very good communication skills, but back then I was the sort of person who talked a lot. So it meant that at school my report said, Glenda's great, but she talks too much. But that's the sort of job you need to be. So you like working with other people, including the patients and the team of nurses. And of course, over the years, so many things have changed, and I've had so many different jobs, but it's still about caring for people and helping people is the main reason.
That inspired you.
And continued nursing, I think, for all these years, definitely.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Barbara, what about you? What really inspired you to pursue a career in nursing?
So I actually have always wanted to be a nurse since I was a very little girl. And most of that came from my mother's very good friend was the matron or director of nursing at a very large Sydney hospital, and she came to visit and she talked about what she did. And from that moment, I can remember from that moment, I just said, I really want to be a nurse. This is wonderful, and I really wanted to help people and make a difference in people's lives, and that continues to this day. I still strive to make that difference in somebody's life every day.
Yeah, I think that's what matters, right? Making a difference in somebody's life. It's not just about what you earn, it's about...
No.
Yeah, exactly. So going forward, Glenda, I would like to ask you, your relationship with IIHS goes back to the year 2010.
That's
so
right.
How has it been, and what's your idea about the transformation of IIHS up to date?
Well, the first time I came to Sri Lanka, IIHS really had one building and a transportable classroom, and maybe 15, 20 students, and they were just starting off with their nursing program. And so the company I was working for in Australia, we had a relationship to try and assist with, you know, learning materials and sharing our expertise in doing that. And over that 10 years, I've seen this grow to thousands of students, thousands of different programs, and really, really promoting that healthcare profession in Sri Lanka. I think previously it wasn't seen as something that was a respected profession, but it's certainly promoted that. And also that linkage then to be able to continue your career or continue your study overseas. They've got so many good arrangements with other organisations and universities that students can start here and then expand their profession and expand their education and move on. So it's really changed, and I love working now. I'm actually part of the staff, even though I'm offshore, and I love that relationship that I have with them. And seriously, every time I come, something new has happened or something has grown, and I'm always amazed at how that happens. The vision of the founders is really the thing that's made it just fantastic. It's amazing. Really, really pleased to be part of it.
Yeah, thank you so much for that answer. I think growth is what everyone's focused at. And coming to Barbara, could you explain to us the field of nursing and how would you categorize it, or characterize it rather?
Sure. So nursing's about, obviously about patient care. It's about accountability. It's about continual learning. But I think the thing that people maybe don't know about nursing is it's very much grounded in a skill set and a knowledge base that is grounded in nursing theory, and it's very specific, and it's not just part of any other profession. It's actually, it's entirely its own area, and that's how I'd characterise nursing. It's a very exciting area to work in.
I think just like Glenda mentioned earlier, it's not just to a set of people, but for anyone to pursue, right? So anyone who wants to be coming to the healthcare industry or to become a nurse, it doesn't categorize you to be in any social status or any as such, but if you have the passion, there you go.
That's right,
Oh,
yes.
yeah. Coming into Glenda once again, you were previously a nursing professional and then you transformed yourself into an educator. How has just this journey been? How is the transition?
Fantastic, really. I think I was the sort of person that started really being as a clinical educator within my job role in the hospital. So when somebody new joined the staff or a student might have come, I was the person that they put with, because I think I was that person who could explain things really well, and I guess I had the skills to demonstrate so that they had a role model or a mentor to be able to work with. And then of course over time that grows to, for me, thinking that if I was going to educate, I needed to get the skills to educate. So I did further studies, even up to master's level in education, that I would never have thought that I would have done that back from when I started. The path, and that's what we're saying, I guess, about nursing, is that so many things open up to you once you have your initial qualification. The path can change and there's so many things. So I really enjoy now taking those young, new students who are nervous and who don't know anything, and then just seeing them flourish. And of course, having been a teacher for more than 30 years, I find now if I go into a hospital situation or if I'm a patient somewhere or my family members, I nearly always know somebody. And they just, and I see them now being in charge or being, you know, really, really organised with what they're doing. It's a fantastic thing to see. So I will never ever stop teaching people, ever. It's great.
It comes in your blood as well.
Absolutely, yes, yes.
Interesting. So I'm sure for everyone who's watching and who wants to know more, because this program, through this program, we're spreading awareness of the importance of nursing and being a healthcare professional. Barbara, would you like to explain to us the benefits of becoming a nurse?
So I think one of the big benefits, particularly in this uncertain world that we live in, is that it's a job that you will always have. There's no shortage of need. Whether it's internationally, you can work internationally, anywhere you like in the world. You can work in your own home countries. You'll never be without a job. It pays well. You have a great professional support ability, like for instance with the IIHS, to further your education. The ability to join in with professional organisations. So across the world there are nursing professional organisations that make you feel a part of a much bigger and more sustainable profession rather than just being, you know, a little group. You are actually part of a very, very big group, and it's very fulfilling, very professionally fulfilling, and makes you feel good in your work every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's what it's important, right? When you say healthcare industry, first attention goes to the doctors, and I think the same prominence should go to the rest of the professionals in the healthcare industry as well. Interesting. So now we would like to, before we continue, we would now like to take a short break and be back. Stay tuned. Welcome back after the break. So as we continue the conversation about healthcare professionals, I would like to ask Glenda the question of what are some of the challenges that healthcare professionals or students who are following these courses face when they go to a new country? And do you think IIHS is supporting them in overcoming these challenges, making them ready to face the world?
I think probably the biggest challenge is that you move away from home and perhaps move away from your support network. So you come to a new country and you don't have whether it's your family or your parents and or your friends and people around you, but it is a great opportunity to make new friends. And wherever you go with nursing, because as I mentioned before, that whole concept of it being a team thing, that when you join the group, even studying or you get a job and you're working, you join that group of people who become your new family and your new network. I've worked overseas as well, so I've moved away from people and you have to learn to communicate. The other thing is that often when you are away from home and you're continuing your nursing studies, you also have to get a job. So sometimes you have to manage your time a bit better, fit in the job, fit in the study. It's not just about coming to class, there's other study that you need to do. So you really need to manage your time a bit better. So if you've not done that yourself, that can be a bit difficult. Sometimes people report that there can be some discrimination for people from other countries, and it very much depends on, I guess, where you go to. But I really think that you mature a lot and you develop a good sense of yourself so that you get that opportunity. And I would say to everybody, wherever you go, make sure you grasp that and take advantage of the culture that you're joining and the people that you're meeting. And particularly, I can obviously speak a lot about Australia. In Australia, we have a very multicultural group of people. People are very friendly. Of course, everybody's not perfect, but you will find that it's easy to transition. I think the support that IIHS gives is that when I'm here visiting, for example, I do talk to the students who are going through any of the programs who may be thinking about coming to Australia so that I can give them an idea about Australia and how things work and all of those things. There's plenty of information from all of the other universities that they have relationships with as well. And usually when you get to the university, there's a student orientation day. So sometimes they have perhaps someone from a year above you that would be your contact person to navigate your way around. A lot of the universities organise living accommodation and those sorts of things as well. So IIHS has worked really, really hard on making sure that support network works. And also the staff from IIHS actually visit all of the universities. So they have a first-hand experience as well. They obviously have a lot of conferences, so they get people like myself coming and delivering at the conference. So that gives you the opportunity not only to talk with potential students, but staff as well, to give them that bit of idea about what it's like in that country. But I think you just have to decide that this is what you're going to do, and it's going to be an adventure. Not everything will be perfect and fantastic, but
sure.
embrace it and go with it, because what you learn will be of benefit to you for the rest of your life, not just work life, but your personal life as well. So it's great.
It's not just about the books that you study, but also about being culture ready, and you know,
Yes.
it's sometimes people back off for different reasons, not for the knowledge reasons, but
That's right.
culture shocks and everything. But
Yes.
it's important to have everything covered before sending off students.
Yes,
Yeah?
and ask questions. When I'm here, ask me questions. Come and visit IIHS and ask them about the opportunities, and can they put you in contact with someone who's there. There's previous students who are there that are still living in Australia, so you know that's a really handy thing to be able to do. So.
That's amazing. And Barbara, to you, quite a similar question I would like to ask. Now you have been in Sri Lanka.
Yes.
Now, for the first time you're
For the
here.
first time.
And now you're meeting health professionals who are studying at IIHS itself. And when you meet them, do you think they are future ready, or rather, are they ready to become internationally recognized healthcare professionals? Are they ready to conquer the world?
Oh, absolutely. I've been, since I've been here in Sri Lanka, I've been very impressed about the level of education that's particularly through the IIHS, the collaboration with the universities across the world, particularly the Coventry University and our own universities in Australia, Deakin and JCU and ECU. They're all very internationally well regarded and renowned, and I think to know that IIHS has those relationships, it gives people confidence to know that these are exceptionally well-rounded and educated nurses, and that absolutely, I have actually worked with some Sri Lankan nurses in Australia who are exceptionally high standard of education, and some of them have come through IIHS. I think the other thing is that I've been very impressed when I've been shown around, because I think there's a very high level of technology available. You know, the sim labs here, which is, for people that don't understand, the simulation laboratories where you actually receive hands-on education in a simulated environment, not with real patients, are second to none. The equipment and the standard is exceedingly high, and I think I've been incredibly impressed with that. So I've no hesitation at all in saying that these nurses are educated to a very high level and definitely ready for international nursing. You know, it's great. Very impressed.
That's something really interesting to hear. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it is really impressive. Yeah.
Right. It's actually interesting because the standard of education is important to see whether any local is ready to face the global, right, the standards. So coming to Glenda once again, could you give us an overview of the nursing programs offered by IIHS so that everyone can understand where they're coming?
Certainly. So there's a number of different programs, and certainly probably for those people who are thinking about nursing, there's obviously the entry program where you can start learning from the beginning, and that might lead you down that pathway of doing part of your course here and then coming to Australia, or one of the other, I keep mentioning Australia because I'm Australian, but one of the other universities where they have relationships to finish off your studies. There's a lot of work that's done with nurses who have already trained here in Sri Lanka through the nursing training schools at the hospital, and they then can do a postgraduate kind of top up to get them up to that next level, which makes them then able to move if they wish to, or give them further skills. And very recently there's been a really large push on continuing professional development. So IIHS has just started a relationship with Coventry University where you can do a single unit or module based around a particular specialty. So if you already work in the hospital and you are working in the emergency department, for example, and you have some skills and knowledge through that actual work, you can then undertake a short course for 8 months that gives you the background knowledge and the skills, and you get a certificate at the end. So if you are then wanting to move on or do further study, you've already started down that pathway of doing it. So I think that the nursing can be something that you almost do a little short thing to come and try to see if it suits you, and it gives you that introduction. It's not a terrible commitment to think you've signed up for a 3-year university course, but you then find that you get the passion for it and you realise that you are capable of doing that. Perhaps your family members are appreciative of what you're doing and think this is something we should pursue, and then you can go down that path. So as far as I think with IIHS is concerned, there's that making sure that there is an affordable courses for nurses to become nurses in Sri Lanka, to build that foundation for here. But then there's also that pathway to move on and to gain further study and to become, as we've been saying, that worldwide professional.
Yeah.
So
interesting. Thank you so much for giving that overview. And as we now come to the latter part of the interview, I would like to ask, let's come out of the IIHS, but if you take Sri Lanka as an overall country as a whole, do you think we are up to the standard of in healthcare professional? And if you think that there are certain areas that we can improve, what are they? Glenda?
I think the benefit that I have, having been here a number of times, is I've seen a lot of changes in that sort of progress through, because the first time, my first visit when IIHS was just beginning, it was very much about training new nurses, whereas now they've moved into that more professional, so the nurses who are already working, providing them with all of those extra education opportunities and those things. And little by little, that's what raises the standard of nursing. So in Australia, the entry level for a nurse is to have a degree in nursing. So that's a university course, which is not quite where Sri Lanka is at the moment, but I can see that it's creeping towards that. And that's just in that 10 years that I've been coming, that those changes have been made. And I think that has also made the nurses more respected and not necessarily just seen as the helper to the doctor or to anybody else. And we always say that we all work as a team, but I don't have to say anything other than I am a nurse or I am a midwife. And nobody then tells me that I can't do that or whatever. They respect, they know that profession. So that would probably be the only thing I would say, is that university level of education is what is really makes you a bit more worldwide worker in doing that. But the standard of care, the way that we see the training occurring, we've been on visits to hospitals while we've been here, met some fabulous people, exchanged ideas, which is exactly what we do at home. All of that idea exchange as nurses. So it's certainly improving and it's certainly getting up there.
I think it's that level of respect that you give to any profession, and then you feel like you're valued and you give the best of you.
That's right, yes.
Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and the messages. And on a final note, I would like to take a message from both of you to the youth who are aspiring to become healthcare professionals in future. I would like to start with Barbara.
So what I would say would just do it. Take every opportunity that you can. There are so many opportunities being made available now. It will be a lifelong wonderful career, and you will never regret it. Just take every opportunity, talk to people, encourage, get people to assist you on the way, but just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Glenda?
I'd probably have to say the same, just do it. I think the other thing is that there are so many pathways that you don't have to look at a big degree to start with. You can do something small to see what you think about it. I think the other thing is that I keep reminding people that during the COVID times, the people who were fully employed, and for us were actually over-employed, we were exhausted, were nurses and healthcare workers.
Yeah,
so
it's
you
a lot.
will never be without a job as a healthcare worker. And it might be from working in a hospital to working in a school to working in a medical practice, or there's so many opportunities for you. You might be an educator like me, but just grasp it and go. It's the best thing. As I said, we've both been doing it for more than 40 years and never ever considered ever leaving or doing anything different. We've had different paths and different jobs, but it's the best thing to be a nurse.
Thank you so much for those messages, Glenda and Barbara, and thank you so much for joining with AdaDerana BIZ 24 today. So as you know, we were in discussion with the international staff members of IIHS, none other than Ms. Glenda Whiting and Ms. Barbara Turner. Thank you so much once again. And for the ones who are watching us right now, if you had anything to know about healthcare professionals, I'm sure your minds are clear right now. And if you want to know more details about IIHS and their programs, please do not hesitate. Call them on 011-465-1144. Let me repeat, 011-465-1144. And you can also visit them at 704 Nigamba Road, Valisara. 704 Nigamba Road, Valisara is their address. So make sure you contact them for more details. And at AdaDerana, we will see you soon with another program. Thank you so much for joining.